welcome back.
Good to be back.
Welcome back to Calgary, and with a new record this time.
Yeah.
The Waiting.
The Waiting.
Waiting for what?
Waiting for what? Just the course of writing that record was really about a lot of sort of life changes and getting into my 30s, and it was that whole duality and coexistence of everything, where you can feel love and loss at the same time, and friends had their first child, and I lost my grandmother, and it's just like all these things were kind of going on at the same time, and I kind of found myself waiting sometimes when you're in the worst of those emotions for the better one to come. Mm-hmm. And one of the lessons that I've really learned and trying to not capitalize on but focus on is just being in the now, regardless of whether it's positive or negative, but just being focused. So that was sort of the antithesis of that record.
And there's no more waiting, it's out.
It's out.
Kind of, but well, see, that's the interesting thing about living in the future in the music industry.
Uh-huh.
It's out on iTunes, but you can't pick it up yet, but I guess it is released.
Yeah, it's out on iTunes and released, I think that was May 11th, but it doesn't come to stores until the 26th.
Right.
And the reason that all got pushed up was because we got the David Gray offer to go on tour, so they wanted to push everything up,
yeah, makes sense.
Obviously to capitalize on us being on tour, sales, and they wanted it ready, so.
And it is, and it's the single of the week right now, too.
It's the single of the week on iTunes.
People can get the new one for free.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that song, and why it's the first single. It's a very lusty tune.
Yeah, well, that's why. It's just a song purely about lust, and it was definitely the most straight-ahead pop song on the record. Mm-hmm. It was a clear single choice. I can see why the label wanted to go with that. It's not. The record is not all of those kind of songs at all.
No, your stuff never is.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
No,
thanks.
Well, I mean, you tend to write slower songs.
Yeah, and far more lyrically driven and far more almost theatrical and stuff at times, and that one was not. That was my pop song.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's another one on there as well.
Yeah, I think Do You Recall, the second
song's,
right. Certainly down the more pop side, but I think On Top of Your Love was a pretty clear choice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are you writing more on piano or guitar these days?
It's about 50-50.
Okay.
I always find when it comes time for recording, I want to gravitate towards the piano songs, and I think I love the idea of playing a grand piano, and I loved having the strings and the band, and for some reason the acoustic or even the electric for me just kind of takes the back seat. And I don't think that's going to happen on the next record. I think I might even lean more towards the guitar. Just to I like putting myself into uncomfortable situations when I make records, doing something different than I've done before. And I clearly see I have yet to make a guitar record. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the next one.
Well, putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, was it hard to give way to producers this time around and not play everything?
That was the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life, yeah. Yeah, which is why I chose someone like Pierre Marchand, and also working with my guitar player Dean, was that I really respected their work and I really trusted their judgment. So it was strange, to not be calling all the shots, or not even to be coming up with all the arrangements and parts, and because I'm so used to playing all the bass lines and guitar lines and doing all the overdubs, and this was a whole other world of working with my band and doing arrangements on the fly and having someone else direct, and I just kind of had to sit back and be one of the crew, which was
still have your name on it.
And still have my name on it and still have it represent the songs. But by the end of each day, it was sometimes where I wouldn't have ever gone, but clearly the better place to go. So it worked out.
You're happy with it?
Yeah, I'm so proud of this record. I would play it for anybody.
Well, and what a tour to start the record cycle off with.
Yeah.
A big theater tour across Canada with David Gray.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What? And this is day 4, day 5, maybe. You've seen him play a few nights now.
Yeah. We've been watching each other. I mean, I was really honored to even have David and his band watching side stage my set, which is another rarity. I'm used to sometimes doing headlines where you just don't even see the headline act. Mm-hmm. They exist someplace else, but these guys are they just love music, and they're all really veteran players. They're all in their 40s, and some of them might be pushing 50, and it's just so seamless watching those guys. It's it's inspiring, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
It's the first tour with a guy headliner in a while.
Yeah,
You've played with chicks for the past few years.
Yeah, in terms of full tours, it was Sarah Slean and Jill Barber and Kathleen Edwards, and it's always been I think that most songwriters want that though. I think most female songwriters want a male opener and vice versa.
Yeah.
I think it's rare that they want someone to be anything like them as the opener. They want themselves to be a clear showcase of their skill or their sound, you know. And I was actually kind of shocked when we got the David Gray tour, just because we're both guys who write on piano and guitar and we sing these kind of songs, and I thought it might be, you know, getting into his territory or something, but that clearly hasn't happened.
And it's working well.
It's working really
well. Do
well.
you have a piano to play on tour, or are you just playing guitar?
I'm playing guitar, and then I'm playing keyboard that's all dressed up to look like a piano.
There we go.
But yeah.
Nice. What got you into music? What were the records that you started with?
Records I started with? Well, I mean, I started playing music around the age of 4 or 5, just because my parents had a piano and lots of instruments around the house.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad was huge into music, so you know, I was listening to like Sinatra and Johnny Cash and just all of that at an early age. And then my father's brother had died at a young age, but we got to have all of his vinyl and reel to reel, so it was all like Cat Stevens and Leonard Cohen, and so I was listening to that when my friends were listening to New Kids on the Block or something. You know,
Well,
like
I got
to skip I got to skip that whole awkward stage of music, which is great. Yeah.
Well, it comes out in the work too, very singer-songwriter, male-oriented kind of stuff.
Thanks.
The get-up though on stage, it's always that vest and the where did this come from?
Well, occasionally it's a full suit, but it's I just believe in performing, and I also believe in as a performer, there's a bit of a mind shift when you put on stage clothes and you have a stage presence and you get in the mindset of performing. Because you know, when I'm hanging out in a pair of jeans and my short sleeve shirt and whatever, I'm not. This isn't performance mode. This is just, you know, me.
Right.
And then I feel a real shift when I get on stage. Like I suddenly, even at these shows, people are coming to the merch table and buying the record and saying that I'm really dry and witty and funny and all these things. And I was like, that's not me. I don't feel like that person when I don't have the microphone at all. But on stage, you become a performer.
Right. Turn out to 11.
And I just feel like stage clothes help and all that.
Cool. One last thing about the record before I let you go. I remember we talked about the last record, after Tall Tales being very grandiose, you wanted to strip it down consciously, not do as much.
Yeah.
Were there any production conscious decisions for this one that...
Yeah. This one I really wanted to be lyric driven and not just piano based. I really wanted to be about the lyrics and the band. I wanted to showcase the band, and everything that had to be done had to be a choice of color, not something to be focused on. So there's no big guitar solo, there's no intricate piano going on, there's no massive string sections. It's all really delicately done, and it comes off as that. It's clearly about the voice and then the underlying sound this time. So.
And where can people see you this summer? What happens after this tour?
Lots of festivals coming up. So it's like Hillside and Stan Rogers and a bunch of others, and then I'll be doing a full national tour in the fall, starting in October. So we'll start out in Victoria and head all the way east. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.